Have you wondered, how can I use the stage to connect with my audience? Well, the next 6 minutes, we'll go over the proven tools and techniques that you can use to master the stage and to connect with your audience. Now, at the first beginning of any speech, the first thing you want to do is make a powerful opening statement. And the way you do that is you step forward to the very edge of the stage. This is called the power position. Pause, plant your feet, take a deep breath. Look at the individuals in the very back of the room, and then leap into your presentation. Why do you do this? One, it adds credibility to you because of your stance. Two, it breaks their preoccupation. Now, after you've opened your speech, after that you move into your story. And when you move into your story, you want to be able to use the stage as a timeline. Now, when you want to go back in time, you as a presenter, a speaker, you're going to move to your right. That's to your audience's left. When you want to go forward in time, you're going to move to your left, which is to your audience's right. So that's the way you use the stage as a timeline. And allow me to demonstrate this by how to use the stage as a timeline and to anchor your stories by part of my signature speech. Come back in time with me. It was a cold February afternoon. I just stepped out of my freshman history class, and I was, so unhappy. I was unhappy with me because I was shy. I had no confidence at all. I heard this voice directing me to go across town. Why? Go across town to the bookstore. Okay, so I drove across town to the bookstore, stepped into that bookstore, and it was tiny. It smelled like books. I could hear the people talking. Why am I here? And then this red book said, I have the answer. I took the book off the shelf and I looked at it. I turned it over and I read the back and said, it would solve all of my problems. Wow, that's what I'm looking for. Oh, but wait a minute. I put it back on the shelf. I turned to walk away. And I heard this voice again said, Gary, you're going to let that book stay on the shelf? It has the answer to your problems? No. I took it off, went home, read that book. Wow, it changed my life. 4 words in that book changed my life. I thought about that many years later, May 2014, as I stood at the edge of the stage, ready to be introduced as the president of the National Speakers Association of Northern California. At that time, I thought, what would have happened had I left that book on the shelf? Well, how would it happen to my life had I not picked up that red book? Had I not read those 4 words that changed my life? Now, here's I told a snippet of my story. Please notice, I used the stage. I took you back in time to when I was in college. Then I moved to another portion of the stage and anchored my story about the bookstore. Then, another section of the stage, I anchored my story about being at home reading the book. And then finally, on stage, waiting to be introduced as the president of the National Speakers Association of Northern California. Now, when I did this, I used these various areas of the stage, and in the process of my presentation, I would never go back and reuse those areas unless I went back purposefully. As you notice, I went back to the bookstore and commented right here about that experience. That set the stage, that helped the audience connect with me both psychologically and subconsciously, that presentation. Now, after you've told your story, now you're getting ready to wrap your story up. How do you wrap your story up? At this point, you want to walk forward. Again, the power position on stage. Pause. Put yourself in that Superwoman or Superman pose. Pause. Look at the person in the very back row of your audience. And then deliver with power and authority your closing lines. Your closing lines need to be one next step. One next step. Now, why do we do it this way? You want to add credibility. If you stand at the edge of the stage in a positive stature and deliver that closing line to your audience not only believe you, they will trust you, and they will take action upon your recommendations. So in conclusion, when you're ready to take the stage, stand in the power position, make your presentation clear. As you use the stage for your timeline and tell your stories, be sure that you anchor your story at each stage, each area, and that becomes an area that you never go back to and use it again unless you go back there purposely. And then, when you're ready to close, that close, again, you step to the front of the stage, the power position, step into that Superman or Superwoman pose, and deliver with power and force your closing lines.